AMAFHH Federation, COVID-19 Community Update, 28th of July 2021, English Language Edition with David Webb.
My dear community members, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and welcome to our community update. As you'll be aware, there have been some recent easing. There have been some recent changes that have involved easing of restrictions here in Victoria. And so the purpose of this video is to give you some key information, which is based on the information provided to us by the state government, the Department of Health and Human Services, and help you to understand as our community members, inshallah. So the updates took effect at 11:59 p.m, Tuesday, the 27th of July. So last night, midnight, and there have been a number of changes. As you are aware, we were in lockdown up until that time. Now we are not in lockdown, but we have some restrictions. So, firstly, the 5 reasons to leave home no longer apply. You can now leave your home for any reason. You want to go out? You go out. It's up to you. Stay safe. Still take precautions, but obviously, you are not restricted from leaving your home. Face masks remain compulsory, so you need to wear a face mask wherever you are if you are not in your home or driving in your car alone. At social gatherings, you cannot have a social gathering in your home. You cannot have even one visitor to your home. And this includes your front garden and your back garden. However, you can meet with up to 10 people outdoors in a public space, such as a park. This is allowed. Up to 10 people you can gather with if you want to have a picnic in the park or that sort of thing. But take precautions, wear face masks. You may have a religious gathering. However, all religious gatherings, including community prayer facilities such as masjids, weddings, funerals, they must have the following precautions in place. A COVID-19 check-in marshal must be present to make sure that all guests check in. Now, if you don't know who a marshal is, your organisation, if you are running any form of religious venue or gathering, your organisation or your group of people who is organising the gathering must appoint somebody as the marshal and give them this job of making sure that all guests are doing their check-in on the QR code system, or if they don't have a mobile phone with them and can't check in for any reason, you can check them in on your own phone. So there are ways to do that. Okay, places of worship may have up to 100 people indoors and up to 300 people outdoors. So some quite large gatherings are possible. However, a density limit of 1 person per 4 square meters applies. So if your mosque is big, it can have more people. If it's small, it can have fewer people. There must be 4 square meters of floor space for each person. Funerals may be held with up to 50 people, plus those needed to conduct the funeral. So the funeral parlour staff, the scholar who is conducting the funeral rites, plus up to 50 guests. Weddings may be held with up to 50 people. And again, that doesn't include the people who are performing the wedding. 50 guests. Dance floors at weddings are not permitted. Probably not something endorsed by our religion either, having dance floors at your weddings, but who knows, maybe that's something that people do, maybe for cultural reasons. Community facilities can open with up to 100 patrons per indoor space and up to 300 patrons per outdoor space. However, the density limit of 1 person per 4 square meters applies. Okay, so things like community centres, which are not formally a religious venue, but you might be holding community events. A COVID-19 check-in marshal, again, must be appointed to monitor people, make sure that they're following the rules, and make sure that they're checking in with the QR code system. You can now travel anywhere in Victoria. Accommodation can open with bookings only for a single household, an intimate partner, if you're perhaps married or having nikah muta with someone who is not living with you, or the person you've appointed is your single bubble. So if you're single and you have one friend who you have appointed as your bubble friend, then you can book accommodation with them, or you can go for a trip with them. Anyone aged over 12 years travelling to the Victorian Alpine resorts, so going to the snow, must have evidence of a negative COVID-19 test within the previous 72 hours. So there are people who are going skiing regularly. Those people have to get a test every 3 days in order to continue their skiing activities for the ski season. If you want to go skiing, you have to go and get tested. Tell the people at the testing site that the purpose of getting tested is to go to the snow. Otherwise, they will tell you to self-isolate at home. But if it's just for this purpose, you don't have to self-isolate. You can get tested and you can take your test result when it comes through and you can go to the snow. There are people on the roads into the ski resorts who are stopping vehicles and checking for evidence that you have had your test within the last 72 hours. If you have not, then you will not be let into the ski resort. So you won't be able to actually drive up the mountain. All right. Work and education. So there are some changes here as well. The rule that if you can work from home, you should be working from home still applies. So if you have an office job that you can do on a computer, you can no doubt work from home and you should be working from home. And employers have to help you with this as best they can. They have to try to make this possible. Offices may reopen with up to 25% of capacity or up to 10 people, whichever is higher, with 1 person per 4 square meters as the density limit. So if you're in an organization of 100 employees, up to 25% people could be working in the office or working at the workplace. However, if the floor space was insufficient to have 4 square meters per person, that would mean 100 square meters of floor space, then that would have to be reduced. If you only had 50 square meters of floor space, you could only have 12 people, for example. And you must have check-ins with QR codes at the workplace as well. This is also mandatory. School students have returned now to in-person schooling. Higher education and training students, people in the vocational education and training sector, people who are studying any adult education course. If you can study from home, you must study from home. Okay, so any course that you can study from home, you should study from home. There are exceptions for certain types of course, such as, for example, if you were studying nursing and you had to attend your nursing lab sessions or something like that, it couldn't be done from home. So there are some circumstances in which some students may have to attend a campus, but study that can be done from home should be done from home. With regard to leisure, entertainment, retail, and hospitality, a COVID check-in marshal, that is an appointed person by each organisation or business, must make sure that all visitors check in at leisure, entertainment, and hospitality venues. So, for example, you might be able to go to a cafe or a place that serves food. That business needs to appoint a designated person to be making sure that you are checking in with your QR codes. Leisure and entertainment venues can open for up to 100 patrons per indoor space, but the density limit of one person per 4 square meters applies. Hospitality venues including cafes, bars, restaurants, these can open for seated service only with a total venue limit of 100 patrons. And again, for 1 per 4 square meters. Groups of up to 10 people are allowed to gather at these venues. And retail can open and again has a density limit of 1 person per 4 square meters. QR code check-ins are required. Each business has to have a marshal appointed who is making sure that you check in. So some businesses are having a security guard who is doing this. Some businesses, such as supermarkets, are just having one of their regular employees. But somebody has to be there checking to make sure that every person who goes to the business is checking in with the QR code. This is very important. And businesses can be closed down, fined, etc., if they don't comply with this. So if you are a patron attending one of these businesses, just bear that in mind. You don't want them to get fined or closed down. So do the right thing and cooperate with the people who are asking you to check in with the QR code. The QR code system does not actually send data to any person. Data are stored in a database and only accessed in the event that contact tracing is required. And after a certain amount of time, the data get deleted, whether they've been looked at or not. So it's not something that can be used to monitor your movements. It's not going to be an invasion of your privacy. Personal care. So hairdressing, beauty, and personal care can open for up to 25 people. That's regardless of how big the salon or hairdressing shop are, barber shop perhaps. For more than 25 people, a maximum density limit of 1 person per 4 square meters applies. So if it's smaller than having 50 square meters, then it can have up to 25 people, even if it's much smaller. But if it's larger than that, then the density limit of 1 person per 4 square meters applies. If you are having a beauty or personal care procedure performed on your face, then your mask may be removed while you're having that procedure done. For example, if you are a man attending a barber shop and you're having your beard trimmed, made nice and neat and good looking, then you can actually take your mask off while they trim your beard. QR code check-in is required, and the staff at the salon or barber shop will have to make sure that you're checking in with the QR code. Please cooperate with them because their business is required to do that by the government. Disability and care facilities. Visitors are only allowed for essential care and support and in exceptional circumstances, such as end-of-life reasons. Non-essential contractors, are not permitted to work. These restrictions will be in place until 11:59 p.m. Tuesday, the 10th of August, subject to the public health advice at the time. So the intention is that these restrictions will be lifted as of 11:59 p.m. Tuesday, the 10th of August, but public health advice will be considered at that time. So Tuesday, the 10th of August, will be the week after next. Okay. More information about these new restrictions is available at www.vic.gov.au. That URL and some other links will be placed in the video description, including that there is financial support available. In particular, if you have to isolate, if you've been asked to self-isolate because you need to take a test or you have taken a test, there is money that you can claim from the Victorian State Government, and there's a link in the description below regarding that. There is also information linked in the video description regarding testing locations, vaccination sites, and booking your vaccination. And of course, we would urge anybody who is able to get vaccinated at this stage, that is, there are vaccines available for you because you're over 50 or you're in one of the categories that's eligible, such as having a pre-existing health condition or being in one of the categories of frontline worker that puts you in category 1B, then please, we would urge you to go and get your vaccination as soon as possible. This is something that has been emphasised as the right thing to do, and in fact as a religious obligation by many of our scholars, such as Ayatollah Sistani. So that is the end of the information briefing. Please contact AMAFHH Federation if you need more information or if you require any support during this time. In particular, if you are having any difficulties such as family violence or difficulty coping or social isolation, then we do have people who can help you. So please make contact with us and we'll do our best to help you, inshallah. Thank you very much for your attention. We'll be having a number of community members making similar videos to this, reiterating the same information in a number of our community languages in order to ensure that everybody in our community is able to access this information, inshallah. Thank you.
AMAFHH Federation is a not-for-profit multicultural charity organisation that believes firmly in the service of humanity and that charity begins at home. Our slogan is engaging the community, shaping our future. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel now.